Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Bullring, the final Bullring of 2022, sponsored by SRI Performance, and we appreciate them for that. Of course, I'm Alan Dietz, always glad to have Jess Ballard alongside as we wrap up the 2022 Snowball Derby with our one-on-one interview Sunday evening with Derek Thorne. Also talked to Casey Roderick, Jake Finch, Zach Evans, and Bob Lowry. And Jess, you got a chance to work with us quite a bit this past weekend. What were your thoughts?
Well, first of all, let me say that I'm just now finding out this is the last Bullring of the year, so thanks for giving me a heads up on that. I'm glad I wore, like, my Christmas sweater.
Yeah, don't come next week. Okay. Well, actually, we do want you to because that's something we'll talk about a little bit later.
Okay. My experience down at the Snowball Derby with Racing America, now this might sound controversial, but this was my most enjoyable favorite derby. Now, this is coming from the better half of a previous winner. Yep. And this year topped 2019. I had so much fun working with you guys. It was a blast being on that side of the gate. And, it was just awesome. And I think it was a great derby all around for everyone.
Other than Saturday night.
Right. Which we're still recovering from that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most rain I've ever seen out of a 7% chance in my life. But luckily they got the pro late model race in, and they're going to run the Outlaws this weekend, which you'll be able to see here on Racing America. But, while we were down at Five Flags, there was a lot of stuff that happened in the short track world that we want to get everybody caught up on. As we said, Derek Thorne finally wins the Snowball Derby, and I don't think there's many people out there that number one would say didn't deserve it. Number two, say that in the back of their minds and hearts they're were probably
pulling for him. Yeah, especially with the story of that being his last race with Campbell Motorsports. It was just a really feel good story, and that's always awesome when the winner has something like that attached to it.
PASS released their schedule for the super late models and the modifieds. Super late models will start back at Hickory mid-March for the Easter Bunny 150s, and the American Canadian Tour will actually be going back to Hickory as a part of that as well, and will end with the rebirth of the PASS 400 weekend, which used to be held at Beech Ridge. It'll be now at Oxford Plains. SRL National, they announced their national schedule. It'll start in January at Irwindale Speedway in California and end in September at Citrus County Speedway in Florida. Also, was glad to see the American Canadian Tour returning to Quebec for a 10-race series. Most of those races will be at Montmagny and Chaudière, and that's good because, they had to pull out of Canada basically during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the Stars National Series announced their season opener. We already knew they were going to be ending their season at the All-American 400 in Nashville next year. They will start at Five Flags Speedway on March 11th. And that gets y'all caught up. Partly because there was a lot that came out last week.
You're 50% in the know.
That's right. We'll continue to monitor RacingAmerica.com here over the next while, and you can find out where all these series will be going at here in 2023. When we come back, I was able to catch up with Derek Thorne after he was declared the winner of the Snowball Derby Sunday night. We'll go back and take a look at that conversation when we come back.
The 55th Annual Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway. It's the pavement every driver wants to race. 300 laps. Only one driver can take home the title. Don't miss your chance to watch history. Only on Racing America and racingamerica.com.
PFC Brakes has more championships than any other, and now they're on every champion's car as the official brake provider for the Camping World SRX Series. Remember, PFC Brakes. The secret is it's quicker.
SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel are your all-inclusive motorsports warehouses with more than 450 product lines. They have everything to put you in victory lane, from professional racing to street performance. SRI and Stock Car Steel have you covered with leading brands as well as a large selection of steel, aluminum, and plastics. With locations in North Carolina and Indiana, access has never been easier. SRI has the world's largest inventory of used parts. SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, your one-stop shops for everything racing.
Welcome to Raceface Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then Raceface Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
Hey, I'm Austin Dillon, and you're watching Racing America.
Well, Derek, we said it. It's been a minute. Derek Thorne, 2022 Snowball Derby winner. Finally, congratulations.
Who'd have thunk, right? You know, it's a final year, final race for Kimmel Motorsports, and the last 2 years prior to this year had been as good as it got. We led a lot of laps, and we were in contention to win. Neither occasion, favored in our favor. But at the end of the day, to come here today again and have the run we had, to lead the amount of laps we had, and God dang, the car was good. But it's just, man, what an experience. It's almost surreal to think that we're the 2022 Snowball Derby champions and that we're bringing the 43 home. Final race for Kimmel Motorsports with the Tom Dawson Trophy.
How similar was the setup and the car to what you guys have done here the last couple of years?
It's the same car. Yeah, chassis 213. Fury chassis 213 has been the one that we brought here every time we've been here.
Is it for sale?
Hey, there's always a price. There's always a price on stuff, but it's been good to us.
Probably get a pretty good for it.
You probably could. The biggest race of the year, we've taken that car to other places. It led 200 laps at Nashville, and we rear clipped it. We replaced the clip, brought it here in 2019 or 2020, and it just liked it, right? Our backup car we bring out every year to shake it down on Sunday, and it's just not quite, it's a newer car, but it's not quite as good as chassis 213 is. So it's been special to us, man. To come here, to have Barry and Gregson and Smith and all these guys that run in the upper divisions, and to see Rudy Fugle in the pits and all these guys that are just the guys you idolize on TV, right? It's cool to see them here, and you're racing against those guys today. And to have us, Mike Keene, myself, the entire Campbell organization, Byron and Carol Campbell, and these guys have been helping, and we've been working at it for people never see the struggles, right? We've been working at it for a decade, or eight races we've been out here, I think, now. And man, to finally pull it off after being so close, after being so close, that's what makes it so sweet.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. Do you feel like, had you won it in 2020 or even in 2021, you would feel the way that you do today, having not experienced what you did the last 2 years?
I think that's it builds character, right? When you have situations like that unfold the way they do, they're unfortunate, but in the hard times, it always builds character, and it makes you reflect. And when things do happen your way, it makes it just that much sweeter.
Did you feel like going into the race today that you had a car that could be this dominant? I mean, compared to the last couple of years, where were you at heading into your mindset today?
I didn't. We practiced yesterday, the final practice. It didn't go as well as I thought it would. We were still missing a little bit of feel. Couldn't decide. There's a couple things we were on the fence about this morning when we rolled into the track, but Mike Keene and I, we kind of went to work and looked at the notes and came to a conclusion on what we thought would be the best package. And well, thankfully, it was pretty lights out fast for most of the race.
Well, I know you said, you kind of put the last couple of years behind you and all that stuff, but do you get there in those last 35 laps when all those cautions come out and I just am not meant to win this thing?
When Smith went into the 3 wide there into one with 2 to go or 3 to go, I was like, here it goes again. You're just waiting. When you have enough stuff happen, you're waiting for something to go wrong, right? And luckily the car was good enough, like with Majeski or Chandler last year, they were close on those last restarts as to where as long as we get off of 2 real strong, I feel like we got a little bit of a gap and they couldn't get back to our back bumper again and get the same occasion to happen into 3. But fortunately, it had the speed. But, man, like, when he got that good run off of 4 going into 1, man, like, you're just waiting for something to go wrong.
I know in 20 you said you didn't feel like you guys kept up with the adjustments because it's so hard with a car that is that good to make changes. But I noticed on the last pit stop, you guys taped up the nose a little bit. How did you – I mean, obviously you kept up with them pretty good today.
Mike, I was talking to him. We were in the middle of that last green flag run or one of the cautions there, and I was like, I don't know where your air pressure's at. I don't know what settings or adjustments you made, but let's just leave it. Every set of tires you get at the Derby, right? You qualify on 1 set, and you got 3 sets in your pits. And every set of tires you get, even though you date them the best you can, you know what to expect. The stagger's all set. Every single one drives different.
In 20, you said that was the worst set you got.
Exactly. And then last year I had my kid pick, my oldest boy Hudson. I had him pick our set. I was like, Hudson, what set should we run the last one? I had him pick the set, and just dumb luck, right? Like, what set should I run, right? And
they were probably still
right,
okay.
Yeah. But this year here, I don't know that last set. Every set was good today. Like, we bolted them on. And I got going that initial green flag run there towards the end, that last one, the last set of tires, and it was I knew we would have a really good run at it. It just comes down to luck, not getting caught up in any incidents. I think there was 4 cautions in the last 30 laps, it felt like, and it's one of those things where you just kind of got to take them one step at a time, and we damn near got wrecked into 1, close to the end, but luckily sometimes luck's on your side, and this time it was.
It was. It seemed like things were a little bit different today. We kept up with the stats as we were going today, and I don't know if you even know this stat. You are the all-time laps leader to Snowball Derby now. You broke Eddie Mercer's record.
I feel bad for Eddie. Like, that is – you would have – 10 years ago, I was talking to Weaver about it. We come here, and it was a shoestring budget and a crowdfunding campaign. We showed up, blew 2 engines. Qualified 30th by 1/1000th, and we flipped with 10 to go going into 1. And people don't ever see the struggles, the side, like the hard times, and that's built character for a long time. But this has always been a race that's been on my list, because I think out west there's not necessarily the recognition associated with East Coast stuff. So when we run as well as we do out west with Campbell, I felt like coming east we have to run well, right? If we're going to run, I think we won like 27 out of 30 races out there in the last few years, and we come out here, we got to run well, because that helps them take us serious. And this race, the rapport, this is a thing. Like, the Derby is a thing, and people are coming from all over the country to attend, and you're racing against the best in the nation. Guys that you see on Sunday or Saturday racing the Nationwide Series or Cup Series are here, and you're racing against them. And it is your time to shine, and luckily we've had the opportunity to do that.
Well, the numbers don't lie. No matter what happens from here on forward, you'll go down as one of the greats in the Snowball Derby. You got that win. And he may go down as the greatest.
What creates a winning combination? Quality, focus, discipline, and most importantly, speed. At Pepperjack Kennels, we provide exceptional water and land training services for hardworking retrievers. From leading in the field to leading on the track, together we establish winning dogs and a winning team. Devoted to retrievers and motorsports, we are Pepperjack Kennels. Visit us online to learn more.
5-Star Bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market. Aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials. Tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-Star.
Celebrate the new year at Dillon Motor Speedway. Saturday and Sunday, January 7th and 8th. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash. Street stock racers from across the country lead the best in grassroots racing to compete for big money and try to tame the toughest short track in the Carolinas. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash at Dillon Motor Speedway, January 7th and 8th. And you can watch it all only on Racing America.
I'd say probably one of the biggest that had the biggest influence on me, short track racing and early in my career, is Mike McLaughlin. Old Magic Shoes. He was the one that taught me a lot about racing and how to prepare for races, probably more than anything, mentally and communicating to your race team, those things that I didn't know how to do and wasn't very good at to start. I think Mike helped me a lot with that.
Well, Jess, I think probably the other big story that came out of this year's Snowball Derby besides Derek Thorne was the weekend that Casey Roderick has, and Casey is joining us now. First off, Casey, congratulations on your wins this weekend. I've got to think for you that this was probably the most satisfying Derby weekend you've had.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been at it a long time here. I think the first Snowflake 100 I ever entered was 2008 with the Bill Elliott Driver Development Program that I did from 2008 to 2010. So it's been a long time coming. I've been going to Pensacola for a long time and always enjoy victories at Pensacola. So especially on the Snowball Derby weekend. It means a lot.
And I feel like, Casey, you're always a crowd favorite down in Pensacola, kind of being local to the area. You're one of the Southern Super Series guys, so I think everyone was really excited to see the success you had. So not only a Snowflake win with Anthony Campy Racing, which was huge, and we see the trophy right there. Thank you for including that. But also a truck win after a disqualification, which coming from me, a win's a win. So I want to say congratulations to you and Emma. For those of you that don't know, Casey's other half is a former Miss Snowball Derby. You guys looked great in victory lane. So
is she not the one that beat you?
No.
Okay.
She was the 50th.
Whose girlfriend is that?
Was she wasn't?
Go ahead.
Okay. Sore subject.
Yeah, no, go on.
Okay, so anyway, coming off of a great weekend, and then you also had a pretty good run in your family. I believe it was your family car in the Super. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I built that supercar back in 2020. It's kind of like 2019 is when my deal ended with Ronnie Sanders, and I didn't want to go without racing for a while, so I put a plan together to build this car, and I've only been able to run it, just a little bit. So I've had some ups and downs with it, but we put some deals together, to run the bigger races with it, and I can't run every week, but this year, Miss Mina with Platinum Express, came along and wanted to do some racing. So I drove her car for a few races, and then we put a plan together for the remainder of the season. The 4 bigger races left to go, we'd do it in my car. So I'm thankful for that, and they've been great people to work with, and look forward to the future with them. But as far as this weekend goes, with Anthony Campy Racing, they did a heck of a job with that pro car, and I struggle with the Super, so it having a good pro car and leading a lot of laps there and getting the victory made the weekend much better for me. But Anthony also helped out on my Super Sunday morning. Just I was talking to him after the race. Man, I wish my Super was this good, and he's like, well, let's do some things in the morning and see how it is for you in the race. So that's what we did, and it ended up being a really good run. So,
well, I know all of this with Anthony came about kind of late with some of the driver moves that happened in the last few weeks. With the performance this weekend, is there a possibility that it could lead to more, or at least an association with Anthony Campy Racing?
I know there's a lot of people that would like to see that happen. Not saying it won't or anything, but we've been having a lot of conversation over the last several months trying to figure out what to do for next year. So it's still all up in the air, and we've been talking to someone else also, And we'll see how it all pans out. So it was a good weekend. I had a lot of success. So I wouldn't put it out of the equation.
Well, it was very nice to see the smiles down there this weekend. I know between the time you won the All-American 400 and now you've had some near misses and had a lot of frustration, and it was nice to see you guys have success, and really hoping the best for you next year.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. It's been a struggle for sure. A lot of ups and downs, like I said. That's racing though. You have good years and you got bad years, and the last couple have been tough for me. And I think the biggest part of it is just having constant help is the biggest struggle, and also finding the funding to do it for the way I have to do it. It makes it tough competing against the guys that we were competing against on Sunday. And even Saturday. I mean, it's trickling down to the pros as well. You have to be so good coming to these races. You've seen the field on Sunday, from 1st to 20th. What was it, like a 10th and a half difference?
Yeah.
Or, 2/10. It used to not be that way. So you could be a little off and still do well, but now you have to be spot on with everything you do. And I was running around like crazy, this whole week between the truck, the pro, and the super. I was all spun out, and it's just a lot to do, and you got to have people there that that can help you. And it started out I wasn't going to have much help, come Thursday, and thankfully, Brennan Ernest found a couple guys that run the Outlaw Late Model race down there, and they said they could help, and I appreciate their help, and we made it work. So, and then a few of my guys came down on Sunday for the race and helped during the race. So, it's always a group effort with pretty much every time I go race. It's just, I'm very thankful for the people that want to be involved with my racing and continue to support what I do.
Well, thanks again, Casey, and good luck on next year.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All righty. Jake Finch, he's going to be here when we come back.
Speed Fest returns to Chris Motorsports Park at Watermelon Capital Speedway Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th. See the super late models, pro late models, outlaws, legends, and bandoleros. Speed Fest has practice and qualifying Friday, while all of the feature action is Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. For discounted tickets and info, check out trackenterprises.com and chrismotorsportspark.com. It's Speed Fest 2023 at Watermelon Capital Speedway Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
It's race time on Short Track America.
Dirt or pavement, from east to west. Short Track America features some of the biggest grassroots races around the country. Super late models to street stock racing. If it's on a half-mile or smaller track, it's on Short Track America. On MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel are your all-inclusive motorsports warehouses with more than 450 product lines. They have everything to put you in victory lane, from professional racing to street performance. SRI and Stock Car Steel have you covered with leading brands as well as a large selection of steel, aluminum, and plastics. With locations in North Carolina and Indiana, access has never been easier. SRI has the world's largest inventory of used parts. SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, your one-stop shops for everything racing.
Hi, I'm Jake Garcia, and you're watching Racing America.
Glad to have you back here with us on the Bullring today. Alan and Jess here with you. Show sponsored by SRI Performance, and we're going to be joined by a driver that ran in the Derby this weekend and will actually run in the Derby this coming weekend. That's Jake Finch. We'll explain that in just a little bit. But first off, Jake, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, as far as the Super goes, tell me about your Derby weekend. You got locked in on time, which had to be a good feeling for you. How would you assess this year's Derby?
Yeah, I thought we were really good, especially, after the first, I think it was 60 laps when we had the first break. I thought we were really, really good, and drove up. We got lapped early due to track position, which we didn't really get very frustrated about that. It happens. And then we drove up to about 9th on the racetrack. We were a lap down, but drove up to that. And we were really good. Thought the car was handling really good, and we were running really, really good lap times, top 5 lap times, and thought we had a shot to be there at the end and see what we could do, especially if we got our lap back. And then our motor blew up, so that doesn't really help my my statement about being really good. I couldn't really prove it, but that's what I felt. So is what it is, and it sucks, but I thought we had a good car.
Where do you think you could have finished at had everything trended the way it was going?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to tell, especially with all those cautions. If I could have got caught up in one of those or something like that. I don't totally know. But I felt like we had a top 10, maybe a top 5 car, especially depending on, I think there's a lot of variables, especially at the break or the stage of the race that I thought we were at. I mean, thought we could be a top 10, top 5 car, but you never know how everybody else's cars get better or the tires you get on the next pit stop. And I think there's just so many variables to say where you would end up. But I think top 10, top 5, I think we could have accomplished that if we were there at the end and didn't get caught up in the caution.
And you're originally scheduled to race Saturday night in the Outlaws race, and then that got canceled due to fog because it was, 2:00 in the morning?
Yeah, you couldn't see the back straight away from the tower.
Yeah, the spotters were like, yeah, this is not going to happen. So you're going to run this coming weekend at Five Flag Speedway. So I guess you got one more race on the schedule for 2022. So expectations going into this weekend?
I dang sure hope we get better luck. I've had some pretty terrible luck lately, with Winchester blowing a tire and then going to the Phoenix and the ARCA car and getting moved or wrecked or whatever happened for third, and then All-American blowing a power steering line, and then the Derby blowing up. So really hope that we can get some better luck, especially this weekend and in the season off with a win. That's really my expectation, especially starting second. So we'll see.
Yeah, and as Jake said, they've already qualified. He's starting second. You'll be able to see that here on Racing America to conclude our Derby coverage, as crazy as that sounds. What are you thinking about for next year? Would it be a similar schedule to this year? Do you have more, ARCA plans that may take away from the Super? Where do you stand right now?
Yeah, a lot more ARCA races for sure. It's what my dad wants to do, and got to get out of the super late model point. It's so sad as it may seem to say, at some point you got to go on, so hopefully to run more ARCA races, especially with me being 17. I can't run Daytona come February, but plan to run the Daytona test in January, and once come June when I turn 18, hopefully run the remaining 1.5 miles and above on the schedule. and run some road courses this year, which I'm really looking forward to, and on the ARCA series. And I think with the Stars National Series running in Pensacola, I think it's March 11th. I really was looking forward to that, but I don't know if we'll be able to make it with the ARCA race being in Phoenix. So I know we're going to have to take away from some super racing this year, but definitely going to make it the crown jewels for sure. The Winchester 400, the Snowball, and the All-American, and those races. Hopefully go to some more cool races, maybe Slinger, some races like that. I don't know. With all the schedules not being totally released yet, it's kind of hard to say exactly where we're going, but definitely going to race a heck of a lot this year, maybe more than this year. So we'll see.
Well, we wish you the best of luck this weekend, and definitely are excited to see what your plans are heading into 2023. Good luck, and I would say we'll talk to you next week, but since this is the last show, we'll talk to you next year.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate y'all having me.
All right, that's Jake Finch. Again, he'll be starting outside pole this weekend for our Outlaws coverage from Five Flags Speedway. When we come back, we're going to talk to Racing America's Zach Evans, get his thoughts on this 55th annual Snowball Derby. He'll be here after this.
SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel are your all-inclusive motorsports warehouses with more than 450 product lines. They have everything to put you in victory lane, from professional racing to street performance. SRI and Stock Car Steel have you covered with leading brands as well as a large selection of steel, aluminum, and plastics. With locations in North Carolina and Indiana, access has never been easier. SRI has the world's largest inventory of used parts. SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, your one-stop shops for everything racing.
Welcome to Raceface Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then Raceface Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
Rhino Classifieds is an online classifieds platform built for racers and race fans. Rhino makes finding parts, trailers, and specialty vehicles easy. Posting is free. Signing up is free. That's a lot of free. So jump in and join the most streamlined motorsports-focused classifieds out there at rhino.co. That's RYNO.co.
As we said, joined now by Racing America's Zach Evans. And Zach, glad that we can get you on for this final show of 2022. He's been a apt substitute for you, Jess, whenever you couldn't be here a couple of times earlier this year.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Zach. And Zach is a database of useful and useless short track racing knowledge. So
a lot of emphasis on the second one.
Yeah.
A lot of emphasis on the second one.
We call him Data.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So as we look back at this year's Snowball Derby, other than Derek Thorne, what can you take out of this year's race?
Probably the biggest takeaway, other than Derek Thorne, a lot will be made about all the laps he led and breaking Eddie Mercer's record for most laps led over a career in the Snowball Derby.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Eddie Mercer had to run the race 22 times to get to that number and won the event himself as well. But Derek, granted, it was his 10th start, but he basically blew through that record just in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. Yeah. But behind that, it was a really good race.
Yeah, it was.
There were a lot of contenders. You saw some new names up front. You saw a good run from Bubba Ballard, which, frankly, we haven't seen the last couple of years at the Derby, but he was in contention late. Tried a different strategy that kind of ended up taking him out of the picture, but he was up front at times throughout the day. It was one of the best Derbies I can remember out of the 6 years or so I've been going to the race.
And it might have been the greatest if Derek Thorne went.
Maybe.
It'll be great for another reason, but.
And just like from, I don't know, optics, it was a feel-good story with Derek Thorne, and that being his last race with Campbell Motorsports. And there wasn't any, like, shenanigans like there were the last few years, you know, that either being stories that take away from the on-track product, like tech or a wreck,
Sammy
something
Smith
like that.
had a chance.
Oh,
Sammy Smith had a chance.
He had a chance at a wipeout and run on that last restart when they went 3 wide. I think the other thing that I take from it is, you know, you look at Sammy Smith, who started 28th, and Stephen Nance, who started 36th. Mm-hmm. You had a lot of cars that came from the back, and I think the other one, too, for me is Jace Hansen and how well he ran.
In general, another storyline to follow out of this Derby will be, in general, obviously Derek Thorne will get the headlines, but the West Coast drivers and how they perform. Jacob Gomes, top 10. Jace Hansen, top 10. Granted, not West Coast. Colorado isn't on the coast. I do know what Colorado looks like on a
Western.
map. Definitely Western United States.
Right.
And for so long, there's been this conversation. Do the West Coast racers get enough credit? Are they as good as guys from the South or the Midwest? And this year, they were up to the task.
Zach, who was our highest finishing rookie for that $10,000 bonus?
Jacob Gomes, as a matter of fact.
All right.
So there, like I say, you know, one of those
West Coast represent.
Exactly. So, you know, big $10,000 payday for him. And you want to talk about big paydays? Derek Thorne. I mean, my gosh, between the lap leader money and all of that, just huge day for him.
Yeah, it was right at 50 grand, and I was trying to. That West Coast? West Coast?
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay, so let's get Zach's crystal ball out.
Oh, no.
And look towards 2023. And to me, at least going into the season, the big story is going to be, for better or worse, you can call it whatever you want it, but SRL National against Stars National.
Right.
Or do they coexist?
I guess we'll find out how well they can coexist once we have a Stars schedule. We got our first date, March at Five Flag Speedway. We have the SRL National schedule now. Obviously, a lot of the events we saw from 2022 are part of that SRL National schedule. The big change is the Rattler joining the fold over at South Alabama Speedway. I think once we see where the Stars National schedule falls in, we'll be able to start answering more of those questions. I think fans would love to see drivers have the opportunity to run both, but there are a lot of other factors. There are all the regional schedules that have to come into play.
Purses
for sure will be a factor, and I'm sure we'll learn more about that as we get closer to the start of season for both of those series.
And we're not talking about Gucci or Prada.
That's where my head went. I was like, oh, yes.
I know nothing about those kinds of purses.
No, me either.
But
Well, there's a 9-hour trip from Pensacola back to Charlotte, and I will say that Travis and I spent about half of it discussing this exact topic.
Yeah.
Not purses,
Yeah.
but the 2 national tours.
Well, and the other topic we'll be covering is whether or not Travis Braden returns to the behind the wheel, which, you know, who knows by the time we get here in January, right?
I'm sure if there's any news that you'll find out here on the Bullring.
We better. Well, Zach, I appreciate it, man. It's been a good year, and definitely look forward to next year.
Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to having a few weeks off away from the grind for a little bit, but 2023 will be here before we know it. Should be an exciting season with all these storylines and developments, like you say. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, and we've still got to finish 2022. We'll do that this weekend at Carteret County Speedway. Race of Champions. It'll be here on Racing America, and we'll talk to Bob Lowry after this.
Welcome to RaceFace Digital Collectible Cards. Are you a driver or a team looking to expand your brand? Want to connect with your fans, give sponsors more exposure, and earn income from all card sales? Then RaceFace Digital has you covered. Digitize your brand with 5 different collectible cards. Enrollment is now open to all drivers and all series. Visit racefacedigital.com today and use invite code RA1.
PB Blaster busts the toughest rust anywhere it's found.
That's what I'm talking about.
Penetrate tough rust with complete control.
That's right, baby.
PB Blaster. Don't bust your knuckles, bust your nuts.
Get some.
Get up on your feet, race fans.
Celebrate the new year at Dillon Motor Speedway. Saturday and Sunday, January 7th and 8th. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash. Street stock racers from across the country lead the best in grassroots racing to compete for big money and try to tame the toughest short track in the Carolinas. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash at Dillon Motor Speedway, January 7th and 8th. And you can watch it all only on Racing America.
Glad to have you back with us here on Bullring, presented by SRI Performance. Alan and Jess here with you today. And as I mentioned, Jess, the season not over yet. We've still got racing here on Racing America.
Amazingly so, yes.
That's right. And in addition to the Outlaw race at Five Flags this weekend, we'll have the Solid Rock Carriers Race of Champions at Carteret County Speedway here in North Carolina. Bob Lowry joining us now. And Bob, first off, thanks for joining us.
Well, Alan, it is my pleasure. I thank y'all so much for having me. I enjoy watching your show. You and Jess do a great job in supporting short track racing. And, and I tell you, the old saying, they say the best for last. So here we are.
Here we are. And you were just telling us before we went on air that the weather's great down there.
The weather is fantastic. It's absolutely, you put on your short sleeve shirt today, 68 degrees, sun's out. And what's that doing is giving us a chance to make sure this facility is, up to our standards, which is America's nicest short track. And we try to keep it that way. And not only in appearance, but also, my staff is meeting downstairs right now to make sure everything goes smooth. Make sure all the competitors and their family and the fans are treated just as well as we possibly can.
That's some Southern hospitality right there.
Yeah.
So,
it is.
Tell us what we got on tap at America's Nicest Short Track coming up.
Well, we have Solid Rock Carriers Race of Champions. We hold it in December because, as you know, after the Snowball Derby, it kind of slows down just a little bit. And so I figured there would be a lot of cars, available to come visit us right before Christmas and hopefully put some Christmas money in their pocket. But also it's a chance for them to get their families down here at the beach. And I tell folks all the time, bring your fishing pole and your beach chair when you come this way. And it looks like this weekend will be no exception. Got a little bit of ugly forecast, a little bit Friday, but, down here by Friday, the weather forecast changes. So we're expecting a great weekend throughout. And so they'll start bringing in their haulers Thursday. Friday, we'll do practice, we'll do qualifying, and then on Saturday, of course, we'll go racing for one of the richest races we've ever had. Over $50,000 purse will be paid out Saturday.
Now that's for the late model stocks, but I know you got more going on there this weekend too.
Oh man, we got some limited late models coming. That field is filling up real fast, along with some of the best legend drivers in the country. They will be here along with our couple, of course, our little kids in their mini cups. We actually do a kids camp, a kids racing camp during the summer. So we've got 3 or 4 kids that was at our camp this summer who are actually racing this weekend. Along with some of the other little mini cup drivers that have been on the circuit for a little while. So it's a great time. It's a great atmosphere. Number one, you're at the beach. And number two, you have a chance to win some big money, especially late model stock. Solid Rock Carriers Race of Champions are known to pay out big money at other tracks, and it's no exception right here. Kurt and Lynette, they love short track racing. They have been one of our number one sponsors ever since we opened. He was friends with Bobby. He's friends with myself. And so he helps us out a great deal. And that's $10,000 to win on that late model stock. So them guys, and it's also $1,000 to start, because, I hear all the time, just like other track owners and other track promoters, what about them fellas down the line, And so what we've done is paid out $1,000 to start and $10,000 to win.
Well, I think that's great. And I also saw the Carolina Pro Late Model Series put their schedule out this weekend. And it's always been a hard draw on that side of North Carolina to get those pro late models, just because of the driving time. But I see that there's going to be a back-to-back race for you and for Goodyear All-American Speedway, and I think that's going to be a great weekend to get a lot of cars at both racetracks.
Well, that's just common sense, really, Alan. I mean, you take a chance to come, you've got to have the opportunity to drive that 3 or 4 hours. Why not do 2 races back to back? And so we're excited about that too. And actually, we should probably do more of that because we are a little bit off the beaten path. But I tell you, it's no different than anywhere else. When you come here and this facility is the way that it is, it's first track. It's known by such drivers as Bobby Labonte and some of them other top name drivers. This is a driver's track. Goodyear, of course, is high bank, same size track. So it gives the drivers an opportunity to test their skills at both tracks. And so we're excited and to know that, them series are finding their way down here. The Smart Modifieds, we're back on their schedule this year. The GNS series at Grand National Super Series, they'll be coming back to us, along with some more that we'll be announcing here shortly. Of course, we always got the Southern Ground Pounders and the Flathead Fords. And there's some good old guys that love to come here and race too. So we're looking for a great season in 2023. We're looking to finish out this season in a great way, and it looks like it's going to be a great weekend.
Well, I don't have any doubt about that, Bob. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us today, and really look forward to what you guys have in store this weekend.
It is my pleasure, Alan. Thank you so much. You and Jess, I thank you all, and I wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas. And just a great new year, and also a great year of racing next year. We know it's a lot of hard work goes into these drivers and their teams and their families. So we just invite them to come down and check us out. We got trackside, of course. We got camping facilities available. We got an infield restaurant in case folks forgot that, Moonshiners. We're feeding the drivers on Friday night. So we're looking for a big time, and also looking for Racing America to be right here too.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I appreciate it, Bob.
No problem. Thank you all again. Y'all have a great day.
Yes, sir. That's Bob Lowry with Carteret County Speedway. When Jess and I come back, we're going to preview the Short Track Awards, which we'll tell you more about after this.
Welcome to the new home for race fans, Racing America. Live short track racing. Exclusive team content.
Any NASCAR fan is really a short track fan at heart.
Behind the scenes access. From grassroots to NASCAR, join us at the home for race fans everywhere. Racing America, it's in our DNA.
SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel are your all-inclusive motorsports warehouses with more than 450 product lines. They have everything to put you in victory lane, from professional racing to street performance. SRI and Stock Car Steel have you covered with leading brands as well as a large selection of steel, aluminum, and plastics. With locations in North Carolina and Indiana, access has never been easier. SRI has the world's largest inventory of used parts. SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, your one-stop shops for everything racing.
Speed Fest returns to Chris Motorsports Park at Watermelon Capital Speedway Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th. See the super late models, pro late models, outlaws, legends, and bandoleros. Speed Fest has practice and qualifying Friday, while all of the feature action is Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. For discounted tickets and info, check out trackenterprises.com and chrismotorsportspark.com. It's Speed Fest 2023 at Watermelon Capital Speedway Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th.
Cirque Motorsport has been providing industry-leading cleaning and analysis for heat exchangers for over 15 years. Now that same technology is here in the U.S., tailored to your specific competitive needs for every racing market.
The only 100% certain way to know that your cooler is clean.
Go to CirqueMotorsport.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more details on how we can help you gain Cirque speed.
Well, Jess, while our season here on the Bullring winds down here today, we are actually going to stay busy, and fortunately or unfortunately, you're still going to be able to see us next week and actually see more of us next week. On Wednesday night, we're going to have the Quickie Driver Development Program banquet here, which I don't know if you've ever been to, but you're really going to enjoy that as we crown Dylan Zampa the champion and continue to honor Alan Kowicki's legacy. So on Thursday, we're going to have our short track awards next week. And basically the short track awards is an evolution of the short track draft, which I know people really enjoyed. But we talked about, and it really was not a draft. It was almost like a Heisman Trophy show that you were doing for guys 25 and under.
Right.
So now we can expand that.
Yes, it was the short track draft. I feel like was good for marketing purposes, but then once you got into the weeds, you were like, this isn't exactly a draft. Like you said.
It wasn't exactly a draft, and we wanted to have a chance to be able to showcase some other categories. So I can tell you those categories now. We'll have the headline of the year, which is the biggest story. We'll have the best race or finish of the year. We'll also have the Racing America Future Star, which goes back to the short track draft, the top prospect, top rookie, if you will. We'll have the overall Racing America Driver of the Year. And we'll have what I'm calling the Racing America Legacy Award, but it's almost going to be like a short track Hall of Fame. We're going to take anywhere from 1 to 3 legends and try to every year kind of enshrine them in this short track Hall of Fame of sorts.
Okay, I think that the short track draft had its place, and we loved Zach with his board.
Zach's big board.
Yes, and that was so much fun. But this, I am very excited about this. This almost reminds me a little bit of like senior superlatives in a yearbook, and you're honoring all types of people in short track racing, in all different positions. You kind of are covering a wider range of people that are involved because, I mean, this industry takes a lot of different people, doing a really great job to do the things that we do on a yearly basis. So I am very, very excited for this.
And let's be honest, Racing America's bread and butter is pavement racing. If there's such a huge headline out of dirt racing that would fit, you got to be honest, Jonathan Davenport winning $2 million this year is a pretty big deal in short track racing. It would still be honored, but our focus will primarily be on pavement racing here and in Canada and east to west, modifieds, late models, street stocks, whatever, put on a show on pavement this year. That's our plan, and that's going to be next Thursday, I almost said Wednesday, next Thursday at 7 p.m., Short Track Awards, first time ever. And then on Wednesday, as I said the day before, we'll have the Quickie Driver Development Banquet for you live here as Dylan Zampa gets crowned champion. So we're staying busy.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me like one slow week in between.
Yeah, well, I don't have anything to do
Alan
with it.
works me to death over
No,
here.
Alan doesn't have anything to do with working you to death. It's just how it is.
That's just short track racing.
That's racing. Well, we're going to take our final break here of 2022, and when we come back, we'll wrap up another season here on the Bullring.
Celebrate the new year at Dillon Motor Speedway. Saturday and Sunday, January 7th and 8th. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash. Street stock racers from across the country lead the best in grassroots racing to compete for big money and try to tame the toughest short track in the Carolinas. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash at Dillon Motor Speedway, January 7th and 8th. And you can watch it all only on Racing America.
Communication is key in the racing world. When it comes to at-the-track communications, there is only one place to call. Racing Electronics is the #1 source for professional race communications worldwide. Over 20 years in the business proves their dedication to the sport. With every driver and crew communication, two-way radios and headsets, scanners and more, Racing Electronics is a one-stop communication source for all your motorsports needs. Before the green flag flies, make sure you have all your team communication gear from Racing Electronics. Stop by and see a Racing Electronics representative at the track near you. Visit their showroom in Concord, North Carolina, or order online at racingelectronics.com.
Hooters and racing go together like killer wings and ice-cold beer. Racing has been at the core of Hooters' DNA from the beginning. Whether it's backing the best drivers or serving up the best food on race day, race fans know Hooters is the real deal. Big screens, great food, good times. Hooters, the official home of race fans.
Again, we want to thank all of our guests for joining us today and remind you once again that the Quickie Driver Development Program Banquet will be here on Race America next Wednesday and our inaugural short track awards next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, the plan as it stands is to restart the Bullring next year on Wednesday, January the 4th. We'll stay 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And that will give us a chance to preview the New Year's Bash at Dillon Motor Speedway for the street stocks, which we always start our year off with here on Racing America. We're going to start off early. We had a new studio this year, so it got pushed back to February, but we're going to be off and running here in January, so it won't take too long. But I want to thank everybody that has been involved with the show. David Stiles, our engineer, Zach Evans, Patrick Hayhe, all the different folks, Matt Weaver, that have contributed through the year, the drivers, all of our guests, and especially you, Jess, for being on, because a lot of folks love seeing you on the Bullring, as you heard this past week at the Derby. And
yes, and thank you everyone for being patient and kind and sending me love through the year. Y'all have really gotten a firsthand witness of what the storm we have gone through. So thanks for putting up with me.
We've seen her go from hair to bald. The hair's coming back now, and
blonde hair.
The blonde's back. Yeah, all sorts of stuff, and that's just her hair. But I am really proud of you. You've done a great job And like I said, we all love you. And I'm very glad that you're
Still
with
here.
us. Well, and still here. So stick around.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone that tunes in every week.
Yes.
We love having you.
Yes, indeed. I appreciate all of you, and just keep the word out. And as I always say, if there's anybody that ever wants to be a guest, or if there's anything we can do to help you in the short track world, just find Jess or I and let us know. So for all of us here in Charlotte, I'm Alan Dietz saying so long, and we will see you in 2023.
Speedfest returns to Chris Motorsports Park at Watermelon Capital Speedway Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th. See the super late models, pro late models, outlaws, legends, and bandoleros. Speedfest has practice and qualifying Friday, while all of the feature action is Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. For discounted tickets and info, check out trackenterprises.com and chrismotorsportspark.com. It's Speedfest 2023 at Watermelon Capital Speedway Friday and Saturday, January 27th and 28th.
SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel are your all-inclusive motorsports warehouses with more than 450 product lines. They have everything to put you in victory lane, from professional racing to street performance. SRI and Stock Car Steel have you covered with leading brands as well as a large selection of steel, aluminum, and plastics. With locations in North Carolina and Indiana, access has never been easier. SRI has the world's largest inventory of used parts. SRI Performance and Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, your one-stop shops for everything racing.
Get up on your feet, race fans.
Can you believe it? Right now, racing, in my opinion, is as healthy as it's been in the last 15 to 20 years.
Just wanted to make that first lap.
Celebrate the new year at Dillon Motor Speedway. Saturday and Sunday, January 7th and 8th. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash. Street stock racers from across the country lead the best in grassroots racing to compete for big money and try to tame the toughest short track in the Carolinas. It's the 13th annual New Year's Bash at Dillon Motor Speedway, January 7th and 8th. And you can watch it all only on Racing America.